All right. Hey, everybody. We are back with our In the Dough podcast, sitting over here at the North American Pizza and Culinary Academy. I'm Anthony Iannone, owner of the Academy in Lisle, Illinois, where we talk everything pizza, dough, culinary, you name it. So today I'm excited. We got our guy Jimmy here from Daddo's Pizza. And am I saying it correct? Daddo's or Daddo's?
Daddos.
Daddo's out in Oklahoma City.
Got it.
Awesome. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Why don't you give us a little insight of yourself, Jimmy, and let everybody see who we get to talk to today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me today. I'm very excited to be here and talk all things pizza and culinary. My journey in the hospitality business started from birth. My parents had a restaurant while I was growing up in Waurika, Oklahoma. After that, school at Oklahoma State, degree in hospitality management. And then right after graduation, found myself in a kitchen at a country club, doing food sales for a broadline distributor here in Oklahoma. And not long after that, we started opening restaurants. Our first one back in 2008 was called Cafe 7, a fast casual Italian joint, sandwiches, salads, pizzas, pastas, that kind of thing. And then after, several years in the business, we met Daddo's Pizza in, 22. In My business partner, Chris Kanya, actually, his buddy David started Daddo's Pizza in Harlem in 2021. And after Chris took a trip to New York City and had his pizza, he called me. He's like, Jay, we got to do this pizza in Oklahoma. And so that's how we got in the New York pizza game.
Awesome. That's awesome. I mean, everybody seems to be in the restaurant business, and it all funnels back to pizza these days, which is it's a great business. I don't think people realize how hard um, the pizza business, I mean, the restaurant business in general, but the pizza business itself. Um, what was the transition from restaurants not serving pizza to going into pizza? Like, what you learn? What were your ups and downs with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Pizza's a tough game wherever you go. Everybody has their favorite pizza, and you can't convince anybody that their pizza is not the best pizza. You know, so kind of the biggest thing for me was how do we differentiate our pizza here in Oklahoma City from all the other kind of slice shops or New York style pizzerias that we have locally. And that's when we really set out for authenticity and ingredients and everything. And so we found the New York WaterMaker and, kind of fell down the rabbit hole of what water can actually do to dough and how it can manipulate the gluten and the gluten structure in the crust. And so that was really the first kind of milestone, I would call it, that we figured out. And then, through that year-long process of construction and planning and everything, we made several trips to New York, made tons of pizza with David at Daddo's in Harlem. And I gotta say, the hardest thing about New York pizza is getting the pie off the peel onto the deck.
Yeah, I take it for granted because I've done it my whole life. So, but it's funny you talk about the water because so many people just take it for granted, and there's a lot of bad water throughout the U.S.
Yes.
And when you're making a dough with 60, 70, 80% hydration, a huge part of your recipe is water. And everybody just looks at, no, that should be my free part. Well, it's your cheaper part, but it's really, next to flour, your most important part. So we see that with a lot of people when we do consulting is that they don't realize the importance of that ingredient in their dough.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It reminded me of a story long ago. New Belgium Brewery out of Fort Collins, Colorado, opened a brewery on the East Coast in Asheville, North Carolina. And for the longest time, they couldn't figure out why the beer didn't taste the same. And they finally figured out. They did a water test, and it was the water. So it makes total sense.
Yeah, it should anyway to most people, but try to cut corners. It's the wrong corner to cut. So how in Oklahoma is there a big slice business? Like, do you do a lot of slices? Are people used to going out and getting a slice of pizza for New York or
Well,
for lunch?
you know, I'm gonna say yes and no all in the same time. Oklahoma is not really a walking friendly place, so you got to drive everywhere unless you get into some of these kind of neighborhood pockets of businesses that are walkable. So whenever we set out to kind of find the right spot for Daddos, we took it to kind of a highly populated rooftop area in a shopping center on the kind of an affluent part of town. There are other slice shops in different parts of the city that probably see a little bit more foot traffic. Um, so we see a lot more whole pie versus slice, whereas some of the other parts of the city can do a lot of slices. So it's all about geography, really.
Sure. Well, that's why, like, when I moved out here from New York 25 years ago, I always said, "Man, there's no pizzeria. You can't go get a slice anywhere." And then I'd have friends come out and they go like, "Dude, there's no pizzerias that have slices." And I'm just like, but I learned after a while in Illinois anyway, is that, the difference between New York and Illinois when it came to pizza was, or lunch for that matter, was in Chicago, they'll get an Italian beef or a hot dog for lunch, where in New York, we'll go to a deli or a pizzeria to get a slice. So you have a different mentality.
Sure.
So I always wonder, like, different parts of the country, like, is slice business a big part of the business, or is it whole pies? Because even pizzerias out here, a lot of them didn't open up till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But you're open for lunch and for dinner in your operation, right?
We are lunch and dinner, and we do a $10 combo every single day, and it's two slices and a drink for $10, and it does really well for us.
Yeah. Sometimes it's crazy too to think that that's a good deal in the pizza world, but it is. I mean, go to a couple of places and they're getting $10 a slice now. When you sit there and you're like, man, oh, okay, I guess this is where the pizza business is gone. What
You- yeah, the crazy part is cheese. It's the biggest liability on our on our balance sheet.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's another thing. But I tell people, listen, for me, it's the whole combination. But at the end of the day, really, a cheese will make or break a good pie.
Oh yeah.
So it's definitely an important, especially if you're doing reheats. A lot of people don't realize that, there's so many different layers of that pizza. But if you're doing a reheat and you're doing a slice business and you don't have a good cheese on that pie, it's a big difference. You can save yourself a quarter, a pound, but you're gonna pay for it in the end. you know, Again, it's everything like we talk about here when we have people coming in, is one, consistency, and two, be premium. Don't try to compete with the cheap guy. Be who you are and put out a great pie and a great slice.
Absolutely, charge appropriately and use the best quality ingredients you can. That's why, we use grande cheese. We use Stanislaus tomatoes. It's they're not the cheapest by any means, but they make the best product in our opinion.
Yeah, and it goes a long way. So you're looking to open up more units?
You know, I'm trying to wrap my brain around how all this pizzeria stuff works still. We've got a great crew that's been taking care of business. I kind of would like to see how we could tweak the current model that we have to maybe build a bar or something else for a little more dine-in seating. That's our number one kind of, if you call it a complaint, is that we just don't have enough seating. People want to come in and eat and hang out and do whatever. But whenever we designed this, it was the basically the same footprint as the shop in Harlem, square footage wise, and so we did it exactly like that. Uh, you know,
Well, these days it seems like a damned if you do and damned if you don't. There are so many places out here, like all different styles and types of food, but you go into an operation and they have 150 seats and half the dining room's empty, but the takeout business is tremendous. And then you go into some places. Yesterday, I went to a Venezuelan place with the three tables, a takeout joint, and the place was mobbed.
Yeah.
And people looking around like, oh, there's nowhere to sit. And I'm like, man, everybody's grabbing food to go or, but also I don't know how Oklahoma is. I mean, it's hard when you see, uh, you know, 7:30, 8 o'clock, you have no more sit down traffic. And it's how much business do you build out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we had pretty long hours when we first opened and realized that we could cut those back because there's no sense in staying open as late as we were. And the other thing that we learned was while I thought we were going to be kind of slice heavy and everybody, if somebody's going to come in, they're going to stand at the counter, they're going to get their slice, they're going to go. It's really turned out to be everybody wants whole pies between 6 and 7.
Yeah, I mean that's the difference I see. There's definitely New York is New York. I mean, it's built its own little animal, and you go there and you're like, I want this, but because you've seen it, but there's a lot of your customers that never saw that and don't don't understand that end of the business on how life goes. So you adjust. But I mean, I looked on your website. Your pies look beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm definitely excited to get out to Oklahoma, check out the joint, and see what you got going out in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's definitely, and if you're ever in the Illinois area, come visit us at the academy.
absolutely.
We actually this week got a 3 day American style pizza class going on starting tomorrow. So we'll show all styles of American pizza, given given some operators. We got one guy coming in who actually is out of Iowa, wants to open up a slice shop. So, but I think even in Iowa, it's going to be another, you know, whole pie heavy business for him. So, but what else? What else is the pizza business growing tremendously out in Oklahoma? I mean, you see more. Are you starting to see the independents taking away business from the national chains?
So Oklahoma City has always kind of had this keep it local mentality since I've been on the scene. There have been several people that have kind of pushed this on, this what do you call it? This movement, if you will, to save local places. So it's Eat Local Oklahoma, and there's lots of branding around it, which we're very, very fortunate to have, very thankful for. Um, you know, there is a Papa John's in the same shopping center as us, and you can kind of, I mean, you can see their business, you can see our business, and I feel like we're probably pretty close in sales to what they're doing. So I mean that makes me feel really good to know that we're competing against a national chain that, banks on volume and, the product that they do. Um and also in the area, we have a lot of local places. So it's nice to kind of see how they kind of work together, if that makes sense at all.
Sure.
Um So I think our pizza business has definitely grown in the last year. We've seen a lot more traffic inside as well as a lot more takeout, we've updated our website to be a little more user friendly as far as online ordering goes, and that's helped a lot. Really leveraging technology to kind of help us succeed has been the biggest part, I think.
Right. All right. Well, I'm hoping to see you guys open up more. I mean, listen, for me, when I was out here, Chicago has its base of, pizza style, and everybody's very defensive. I've learned over the years of their Chicago style. And, I enjoy a good tavern style pizza, but I think the more you put a true New York style slice to someone's mouth and they get to taste it and they realize how much different it is than a lot of other American style pizza. Everybody becomes diehards um, for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about our New York pizza, you can definitely tell the people that have been in New York or the people that know good pizza because when they come in and they take a bite and as soon as you get that first bite, that texture in your mouth, the no flop, they're like, this is what it's supposed to be. And so it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, it's definitely people come in now, and I mean, listen, we eat a lot of pizza here. We make a lot of different pizza here, but um, still, at the end of the day, for me, it's a New York slice. There's just something about the way it hits is great, and also, they don't realize the importance of all the ingredients that go into it. Um, don't realize the water that if it's not the right makeup, you're not going to get a right thing. I mean, when I put the New York WaterMaker into the academy using, even though Chicago's water is good, for me was a big baker that started using it. And when I talked to him, and I was like, listen, is this thing, for real? And he was like, Anthony, it changed my dough. He's like, I thought I had great bread, and then I hooked the system up, and all of a sudden, my bread was just that much better. And that's what got me to put into the academy. And that's what really got me to, listen, growing up in Queens, turning up on the water when I go back home still, opening up the faucet and getting a glass of water out of the faucet and drinking it, where you can't really do that in anywhere else in the country. Um, you take it for granted. And then, out here was all right, the importance of everything from yeast to the flour you're using, um, the oils or whatever it may be. Um, but then the water, like we said, is the biggest part of your dough outside of your flour. So if it's not a good water, it's not going to be it's not going to be a good product. It's like using a cheap wine to make a demi-glace. Cheap wine, you're gonna have a cheap taste.
Absolutely. One of the funniest things that we found from the water maker, we hooked it up to our iced tea machine. Makes incredible iced tea.
You know what? Which I'm so glad you said it because it was my next conversation was I went and did consulting for an operator down in Tampa, right? We all know water in Florida is horrible. And he had the water and, okay, we were making 50 pounds of dough a day for it was a country club. So, it was not, pizza wasn't his number one thing, but he wanted to make a better pie. But then during the day, I got iced tea from his fresh brew and it was horrible. And I just looked at him and I says, why are you not running this system into your soda fountain and your iced tea machine? And he just looked at me like dumbfounded. And I was like, you got three outlets, like utilize the water. It's a better taste. And so I'm so glad that you are using that system for not just bread and dough making, um, but for other parts of your business. And again, drinks are who gets a slice or a pie without getting something to drink with it. So good on you. I'm glad you're utilizing your clean water for everything in there. But that's awesome. All right. Well, Jim, before we go, why don't you give us another the name of your company, where you're located, and where everybody can find you when they're traveling around the country?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're located in Oklahoma City, at Hefner and May, northwest side of Oklahoma City. Visit us online at daddospizzaokc.com and check us out on Instagram, Daddo's Pizza OKC.
Fantastic.
Thank
All
you.
right. So whenever you guys get out to Oklahoma City, make sure you go to Daddo's, get a slice, give them a recommendation. This way, turn Oklahoma City into the next pizza city.
Let's go.
All right, great. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Cheers.
Ciao.